Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And we've got another combination out here today that we haven't tried, but it's one that I don't necessarily have the most confidence in. I guess on paper, it should be a decent performer, but in practice, or at least from what we've seen out of these shells before, I haven't been a huge fan, so I don't know how well they're going to perform today, but maybe there's a chance they really surprise me. I guess we'll just have to test them and find out one way or the other. And as for that shell that we've got out here today, I brought out some of the Federal Premium Heavyweight TSS 410 shells. These are a 410 3-inch 13/16 ounce of number 9 TSS, moving about 1100 feet per second. And to be quite honest with you, these shells have been underwhelming so far anyway. It's been a good while since we've tested them on the channel, but through everything we've done with them so far, they have not been very impressive and probably the worst performer off the same store shelf as stuff like the Herder's TSS especially, or even the Browning and Remington stuff. They just haven't been up to par, so I hope we can change that today, but I have my doubts. But as for the setup we've got to try them through today, I brought back out the Mossberg 500 410 turkey here, and as for a choke, I went with this guy. This is the Indian Creek 385 constriction turkey choke, which did okay the last time we tested it, which was its initial test anyway for us on the channel. So I don't know, maybe it might really work with these shells. I guess we'll just have to try it and see one way or the other. But as for our test, everything is set up the same way we always do. I have the turkey target downrange at 40 yards. I have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see our speed and how close it gets to the box claim. So let's get you guys set up with a view of this target, and we'll take our shot, look at our chrono, and then go down and look at our results. I have serious doubts that we'll see any decent performance today, but you never know. So let's go over here and shoot it and see what happens. Okay, so that shell gave us 1103 through our chronograph. The box was claiming 1100, so yeah, we're right exactly on the money where they're saying we should be. So that's always good to see, especially out of a big manufacturer like that, where we actually can get the number that they're claiming on the box. So definitely nothing too weird looking up here, but how did it actually shoot down at 40 yards? Let's go take a look and see. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And I don't know what's going on with these Birchwood KC targets here lately, but this is just pitiful looking. I'm going to have to start bringing a paint marker out here or something so you guys can see better. But either way, we got one right down there in the spine, but none through the brain area. So it might have been a dead bird, but you would have gotten pretty close on that one, that's for sure. Looking at the rest of our pattern, I do think we were a touch off to the right and maybe a touch high. And I think that choke shot pretty similar last time. So I think just that choke likes to hit a little bit off from where my bead is. So I'll have to remember that. But either way, this is our pattern that we see here, I guess. I mean, is it the worst we've seen out of a Federal TSS shell? Definitely not. But it's far from what I would call a decent turkey pattern for a 410, that's for sure. Now I guess the core area of our pattern is right about there, but as you can very clearly see, we have several bigger gaps and voids right over there that are just right in the wrong place, right where you don't want them to be at if this pattern was centered up a little bit better. And on top of that, we have several flyers strung along down there. I mean, you got this random cluster over here on the left that is noticeably separate from our main area there, and even most of this main core-ish area of the pattern is just splotchy looking and doesn't really have any kind of amazing core to it either. So overall, I mean, is it good enough if it was centered up? Yeah, probably, but it's just not really anything impressive, that's for sure. It's at least not a pattern that I would want to use. So either way, I guess this performed about how I expected it to be honest with you. Okay, and here's the wad out of that shell, and as you can see, definitely nothing special looking, not a flight control wad or anything like that, just your pretty typical 3-inch 410 wad. However, well, yet again, what I don't like to see out of these factory loadings, look at all the pellets stuck down in the bottom of that wad. This has been a common problem with 410 in general, but to see what looks like at least 10 pellets stuck down in there, that's a very noticeable chunk in a 410 shell. So absolutely something I don't like to see whatsoever, which could be why our core area of the pattern looked a little splotchy, is because we're missing a good handful of pellets that are still sitting in the wad. So definitely a disappointment there. But I mean, I guess you could say the rest of the wad did okay. It opened up pretty evenly and there's no rips or tears or anything. But still, I really don't like to see when we have a whole bunch of pellets stuck down in there like that. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance right there? For me, it's not really a pattern that I'm looking to get, and it's about kind of what I expected to see out of these federal TSS shells. Even though they were kind of the ones to really start it, or at least bring it into kind of the big public market when these TSS shells first started coming into play, like 5 or 6 years back, they are probably one of the lower tier shells in that TSS market, I'd say, that's for sure. I guess they've kind of always been good enough anyway. When the TSS movement first started coming in, I mean, to see a 410 pattern like that was pretty good. But now it's very obvious that that is lacking pretty far behind even a lot of the other big name manufacturers on the same store shelf. So I don't think they're really getting anywhere with this anymore. But either way, let me know your thoughts about it. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you hoping for a little bit better? And how have these federal TSS shells done for you in your testing if you tried them? At the end of the day, I guess that pattern would have been good enough if it was centered up a little bit better through that Indian Creek, but it's absolutely still nothing impressive, I wouldn't say. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments and let me know your opinion about it. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to film for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send things if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to the testing, so I'll see y'all in the next one.